Donc aujourd'hui, we're going to be covering BBC's Hard Talk, which is it's a terrible name for a show.
I was thinking the same thing, bro. Thank you very much for acknowledging that.
I just read it out loud. I said, "Whoa."
Hard Talk.
The show is a basic show where they bring on somebody and they ask them difficult questions, and as a result, it's called BBC Hard Talk.
Racial observations have very much formed, at least in the early stages, the backbone of your stand-up comedy career. Do you now regret some of the jokes you made? Let me give you an example. You said, my mother, black South African, was saying, get me a white guy, get me a white guy. Well, my father was white Swiss. Of course, he liked chocolate.
That sounds funny to me, even when you say it. That sounded really funny. Why would I regret that?
Why would you regret that? Because some people say that's not really very funny.
But the people laugh. Everyone can say something is not really funny. This is the way some people don't like
Indian food. But is it more than that? Okay, let me give you an example. We have a very well-established black comedian in Britain called Lenny Henry.
Yes.
And he has said that he regrets doing that kind of joke where he said he would wipe his...
Who cares? It's two different people. One regrets, so what?
He has said that he regrets doing that kind of joke where he said he would wipe his sweating brow and say, I'm leaking chocolate.
But that's different.
Well, it's not. It's using chocolate, isn't it?
But that is different.
Well,
the Swiss love chocolates is not a term that is pejorative.
But you're referring to your mother's skin colour as chocolate. What he says...
Yes, because my mom is proud to be dark, beautiful chocolate. Yeah. That's what she's saying. Well. And this is, in the book, I talk about this as well. I go, I saw people and race as chocolates.
I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't use that. I'm that colour, and I wouldn't say that.
Listen, when I grew up...
Yo, it's like listening to a French person from France speaking in English. That's the le temps hautain là. It's just like, I wouldn't say that, so you shouldn't say that. Like, I don't feel comfortable saying that, so why should you feel comfortable saying that? Bitch, you're not the same motherfucker.
In her defense, the show is normally geared towards asking hard-hitting questions. But I think one of the points of asking hard-hitting questions is also to listen to the other person's reply and then retort. It's not enough for you to just have a bunch of things that you've prepared to fire at the person, to put them in uncomfortable situations. You also have to go back and forth with what they're actually saying and listen. So I think that's like one of the mistakes that she's making for me watching this.
When I grew up, I believed that all people were chocolates. My mom was dark chocolates, my dad was white chocolates, and I was milk chocolates. So I see all people. So you see
that as funny, but do you not realise that some people might not like that? And Lenny Henry went on to say that joke about how he was leaking chocolate. He says, I knew there had to be a better way.
And, you know, some people are going to have lines that they arbitrarily try for their own comedy. I have no problem with it. If you get up on stage and you say, I never want to make handicap jokes because my son's handicapped or I don't think it's acceptable, don't do it. And a handicapped dude in a wheelchair will come on stage right after you and make a bunch of jokes about being handicapped. People make jokes about everything. I mean, I've seen videos where, like, you know, Weinstein survivors come out and make jokes about Weinsteining. Yes, that's a thing. There's actual entirety comedy shows like that. People laugh at their own trauma. They laugh at other people's trauma. It happens. That's humor. That's comedy. That's how it works. Now, if you say you don't want to do something, that's okay. It's when you start telling people you shouldn't do that, you should regret that, you shouldn't. Listen, I could find a bunch of people as corny or as terrible as I want to. I would never think of saying they shouldn't be allowed to make those jokes. Ever. I can even get up here and I'm like, I don't like it. That's okay. It's just when people are like, you should regret this. You should take it back. Then I'm like, nah.
It's the same as people that really try to enforce religion on you. It's the same thing. I don't eat pork, so you shouldn't eat pork. No, if you don't want to eat pork, do it over there. That's your thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to impose it on me.
Leave all that gelatin-filled candy for me.
Of trying to put the message over, putting your jokes over without having to pick on people because of their colour or because of their race.
Yes, but...
His view is different from yours.
Because he's Lenny Henry and I'm Trevor Noah.
Yeah, but he's black.
Yes, but he was talking about leaking chocolate, implying...
He said, yeah, but he's black. Like we're all supposed to agree.
We're the same people.
Like we're all supposed to be like, we all view racial issues the same way.
Yeah, you're different, but you're black. So
yes, but we're black. You live in the UK. He's from South Africa.
That's the dumbest argument that I've heard.
The black experience in those two countries is vastly different. You're not going to see things the same way.
And even if the experience is the same, you're not necessarily going to live it the same way.
That his skin color was not something that belonged to him. That is a different
It's not.
joke.
He's
that is a
just trying
different
to say
idea.
that his skin color is chocolate.
No.
You're splitting hairs here.
And here, she is. She's the one that's in here. And the worst thing is that she's not even taking account of about context. I hear chocolate, same thing. No context. You said chocolate. Common denominator, chocolate. So she can't hear nothing else but chocolate. She said chocolate, you said chocolate. You feel ashamed, you should feel ashamed. You sound very smart, but this is pretty dumb arguments.
You're going to hear this from me. You're going to hear this from every comic. Context is everything. It's everything, especially the comedy. You hear a certain comedian outside of a context, you're going to think he's a fucked up person. Guess what? It's very normal for the type of comedy shows he goes to. They like that kind of humor. Right? You see a fucking BDSM woman on the street, you might think she's weird. And the places and the circles that she goes to do her work, perfectly acceptable.
Context.
Everything is contextual. You can't just take words and lines out of some fucking special you saw or some comedy show that someone wrote about that you read in newspaper and got outraged over. It's not the way it works. Okay?
Because what you're doing is creating.
I'm not sure I
you're
would.
creating
I'm not
racial
sure
jokes.
I would say.
No, you're creating
you
monoliths.
said.
You're creating monoliths of jokes, and that's not fair to do. Every single joke has a context. Every single joke comes from a place. The most important thing with comedy is context. Without context, no conversation is complete. Without context, no communication can
But
truly be
somebody
appreciated.
could take that out of context.
And you've said
so
it.
I'm putting it to you then. Are you not...
Then don't!
No, but that's your problem. If you take something out of context, that's your issue. You know what I mean? It's like, here's what happens. You see some dude going to a woman and be like, hey, baby, what you doing? And everyone's like, hey, you fucking asshole. What? Don't talk to her like that. That's my girlfriend. Oh, well, you shouldn't have called her baby. It's like, no, motherfucker, you should have minded your business. That's his girlfriend. Just because you don't know the context of the relationship, you just assumed. That's all you, nigga. He's talking to his woman.
That's his shit.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But I took it out of context. Yeah, bitch.
That's you.
You taking it out of context.
That's you.
You taking it out of...
No, that's you, though.
It is.
That's you.
You taking it out of the context is the equivalent of you not minding your business.
No.
Mind your business.
Given what Lenny Henry said, are you not guilty, perhaps, with some of your routines or a joke like that, reinforcing prejudices and promoting stereotypes in the minds of people who may be inclined to think like that, and then they'll think, oh, Trevor Noah says his mother's chocolate, I'm going to go around saying that to my black friends, and they might take offence. You could be reinforcing prejudice.
You could be doing anything if you are not doing the opposites. How your action is implied does not define what you were doing. Okay,
let's look at another aspect of race. You moved just a few years ago to the United States. Your routine as a comedian often mimicked Africans and also African Americans. And about African Americans, you have said this.
You know what this is like? It's like somebody going to NWA and be like, so tell us about how you fucked the police. The nigga, what? Wu-Tang. Why aren't you something to be fucked with? Imagine they're going to Tupac dinner time and be like, so when you made Hit It Up, tell us about how you fucked his bitch in the clique that he claimed. West Side motherfucker? What do you mean by that, sir?
Stupid.
Huh? So Biggie claimed to be a player, but you fucked his wife? Really? Yeah. Okay.
Did you really come straight from Compton, or did you not come from the womb of your mother? Like, you yo.
So, Juvenile, when you say back that ass up. Michael Dempa, when the thing goes, are you advocating for gun violence? Stupid. Future, when you go, chitty chitty bang, bang, bang. Chitty chitty bang, would you say that was were lyrics from the future? And I hated that fucking verse.
I know. When that verse came on.
African Americans, you have said this. you are not African, but we play along. It's a very loose term, African American, because half the time you use it for people who aren't even African. As long as you're black, they say African American.
I didn't deliver it like that. You're not doing my jokes justice.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly. You're bad at it, and you're taking shit out of context. Therefore, we can't have this conversation with you. You can't have a conversation, lady, if your points and everything that you're saying is always out of context. You're gonna take a joke and you're gonna change after. There's a lot of things about comedy that makes comedy work. Okay, the context, as we discussed, is one of them. Intonation is another one. Right? Delivery is another one. The tone that you're gonna use is something that's, the reference is gonna be something else. If you take that, all of that, you make it serious and you take it all that out of its context of comedy. You make it sound like so serious and you don't deliver it properly. There's no point having this conversation with you, lady. No point of being on BBC Heart Talk. I said it a 5th time now. This whole interview, throw it out the garbage because it's not a real conversation. It's not.
When people come from backgrounds where they're forced to walk on eggshells all the time, they don't know what it's like to interact with normal people or hear them talk. What this woman is doing from her high level of education, academic background, is coming into a world that she doesn't understand. You're talking about people who are performing in bars and clubs, okay, in front of a drunk crowd, everyone's rowdy, just letting loose, having fun. It's a different world. The way people communicate amongst each other, the looseness of it all, you need to understand that. Because, you know, when you work in a corporate environment, a simple joke can get you fired because somebody took it the wrong way. When you don't come from the same world, you look at it through your lens, you start clouding everything. Sarcasm doesn't really have a place in the workplace, right? That kind of humor, that kind of darkness doesn't have a place in academia in a lot of ways. You're not allowed. Trust me, there's literal policies. But now you're coming to a different place. The way he delivered that, right? He might have been playful with it. He might have been teasing the black audience that was present.
You might be sarcastic with it.
But if you deliver it in a flat tone, try reading a painting.
Oh, it's just a lady on the wall. No, c'est la Joconde.
You know, it's not even just the painting. The era it was done in, who did it, what was the historical context of the time that they did it. All that matters to the painting.
Oh, it's just bitches screaming on the boat. No, Van Gogh, bitch. Van Gogh, bitch. Calm down.
No. But you see,
Satirist. But I'm just asking, are they not African American?
Here's what you're missing. What you're doing right now is the equivalent of me saying, now it's raining more than ever. I'll be here with you forever. You can always be my friend, standing under my umbrella. Ella, 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 A, Ella, 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 A. I seem like a mad person right now because I'm not doing everything that was within the context of the song Umbrella by Rihanna. When you are doing comedy merely by words, I spoke it. My eyes, my voice, my connection with an audience is completely different. People can see when you are being playful. People can see when you are saying
So
something.
you're being playful about
that you don't believe. That is what satire is, though.
Fine.
You're poking holes.
So your point
joke.
I'm trying to make is that there was a shift amongst the Black American community to start calling themselves African American. They didn't want a definition by default, i.e. you were not white, so therefore you were black.
Yes.
They wanted to have a hyphenated identity that linked them with the continent of their ancestors. And therefore, when you say, oh, they're not really African, they're playing along, you cannot disconnect what you say from this debate that's really, captured the imagination. Thinking in 2014, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, the celebrated Nigerian author, she said that when she visited the US, she felt that her African-American classmate was annoyed with her because she didn't share their anger. And she said that she was not burdened herself by America's terrible racial history. That difference, does it result in the African Americans who've arrived recently in the United States, such as yourself, acting differently or having a different psyche from the Black Americans who are the descendants of slaves and have lived for many, many years, obviously, in the US?
Well, I will say this. I will be careful to not comment on the experience of every single person because I'm only myself and I can only experience the people that are around me. What I do know is this. In terms of our racial histories, South Africa and America are very similar. When I talk...
All right. So what did you think?
I just want to hit. Don't be her. Let him finish.
How many? Did you
Just kidding, man.
Yeah. So what do you think?
She was obnoxious as I'd like to commend Trevor Noah for keeping this cool because she was pissing me the off. Just right from the start, just not letting. You really like the sound of your voice. You really do, lady. Like not letting him speak. Every time he had a point on you, like, oh, that's interesting. Blah 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 blah. Like let him finish. Let him finish. It's just,
They'll come for everything. They'll start here. They'll go for music very soon. They've been trying to go for video games. They're gonna try to police it all. They'll try to police every idea, everything that comes out of your mouth, and they'll try to make like. Listen, me personally, I don't watch most stand-up comedies and think, oh my God, this is so profound. It's like really affected my worldviews. Normally I just go there, I laugh, and I leave. Sometimes they might make like a single good point, but I'm not going there to have all my opinions changed, okay? For these people who go to these comedy shows and be like,
mind-blowing.
you're going to vote for Hillary now? It's like, nigga, what? I just said that sometimes when I travel to the South, they like shooting shotguns outside of their truck. That's it. And I think it's funny. Who cares? Some of you motherfuckers need to lighten up. Y'all need to, I don't know, take the stick out your ass, okay? Go to a comedy show, buy a vibrator, pleasure yourself, okay? And leave your company policy at your company. When you get off work, stay off work. Because some of you guys walk around like HR's looking over your shoulder and you're talking like it is too.
Oh shit, if I laugh at this joke, I'm going to get fired.
Nigga,
calm down.
It's not that deep. The same stuff that she's talking about right now is a lot of the same stuff you're hearing about Chappelle or other comedians in regards to what they can or can't say on stage. Oh my God, shut up. But anyways, that's just my thoughts. What do you think?
I said what I said.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Yo, if that lady was interviewing me, I'd be like...
But that's a show also. It is hard talk, so that's a show.
You smoke weed? I mean,
That's a show.
I know it's a show, but it's...
Yeah. If you go on,
I'd be like, wow, you really look smart, but you are dumb as rocks.